Back pala pala sa boy, sabi boy, UL.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Sorry that we haven't been able to go on with our classes recently. We have been sorting out a lot of logistics based on the classes, being that we don't have a sponsor or anyone helping us with the finances required to take these classes to the next level. So that's what happened that we haven't been able to get on with some classes for the past weeks. So I'm so sorry about that. So can we continue and go on? So the last time we discussed about uh, texts and how we can manipulate them. So this was what we treated last section. We treated CSS tests, color, direction, letter spaces, word spaces, and so forth and so on. So this is what we did in the last class. So in our next class, we are going to go on with images. We are going to go with images and see how we can manipulate our image and use them for our website. So an image is like sorry, an image is a visual aid, like how you have your local flyer and you see some certain images in the flyer helping you in the visual aid of understanding what the flyer or what the advert is trying to say. So in web development we can use image to represent so many things. You can use the image to do your background, you can use the image to represent a profile picture, you can use the image to represent virtually anything on a web page. So now let's go ahead and see the properties uh, regarding the image or how we can control the image. So in CSS, the image properties, you have the border, sorry, you have the border, you have the height, you have the width, and you have the opacity. So we use represented with mouse opacity. So we're going to see how we can integrate and use our image. So remember in our first file, which is this guy here, where we are writing an actual project on about ourselves. I don't know if you guys remember how we put this profile image here, this image. I don't know if you guys remember how we did it. So, so let's go ahead and do a quick recap on how we got this guy to be here and how we got it to work. So, in other words, for us to do that, let's go and visit back our file. So now, where is it? Okay, so we are going to do this with a new file. So you guys will grasp how we came to this end product, which is this. So we are going to open a new file. Let's use our, what is it called? Where's that file again? Yeah, okay, this one is another project we'll work on later. So let's use our CSS file. Here it is. So this was the one that we've been using throughout our entire course for the training, and that other one is the one we use for our actual project. Okay, so this was the one that we used in our last class. Let me increase the, what is it called? Let me increase so you can see it properly. Okay, so this was the last thing that we did. This was when we are manipulating the text and everything, and this was when we added the background image. We treated background and background image, and this was when we treated border and everything. So let's go ahead and delete the files and then come back over to do it with our image. So now let's start. In HTML tag, remember you guys, I told you about adding an image file. So working with an image file in HTML, the first thing you do is to write the image tag, which starts with ing, and then what is it called? Visual Studio will help you out to write out everything like this. So this is how Visual Studio will set it. This is the basic settings for the image, but I would like us to hard code this manually so you guys can see how you can do it without the code editor helping you out and everything. So let us do that. So say you open this guy, say ing, then write src. Remember you guys, I told you src is the source or location where the file is. So this src helps you target where to find the image file in a folder or a web address. So now we are going to write the source file. So let us upload a new image here so you can be able to, okay, we have this image, so I think we should use this one to work on it. So let's rename this image. So let's rename the image and do that. I'm so sorry, cancel. Okay, so we're going to make use of this image here. So let's rename it. Let's give it a demo name so it will be easier to call up. So we are going to use this image right here. So we'll say src, we say demo. You guys see here .jpg. So now you write an alt means alternate. The alternate is what the browser should display if the image file is not found. So the alt is what's going to be displayed. So let's call it my demo image. And then, like I told you guys earlier at the beginning of our HTML course, the image doesn't need a closing tag like this body got opened here and closed here. The image doesn't use that. So all you just have to do is write a / and then close it up. That's just it. So let us go to our browser and see if this image has been displayed. So let us go here. We'll go back to our browser. Oh yeah, here it is. So can you guys see it now? This is our image. Can't you see it's so big, like it's overwhelming on the web page. The reason this is because we didn't add a width and style, or sorry, we didn't add width and height. Like here, you see these properties, we didn't add width and height, so the image is going to contain 100% of the entire page or of its parent element. So in this case, the body is the parent element, so it's containing 100% of it. So let's go ahead and work with this image in our CSS file. So now you guys are seeing the image, so let's go ahead with the coding. So now we are going to start off. Okay, let me get this guy to be to come down here. So we will first of all treat the height. So now let's go ahead. So there are two ways you can add a style to an image. You can use this inline styling, where you can just say width, or let's use the height. So you can just say height and then give it a px. Let's just call it 100 px. Yeah, so if you do that here, it's going to affect the image, and you guys see here we gave it a height of 100%. This is one way of hiding the image height or width. You can also choose to give it the width property here, which you can just give it 100 px also. This is one way to manipulate your image. And can you guys see here, this is 100 by 100. So but in this case we are not going to be using these guys, because I'm trying to get you guys to work with external CSS, so it will be easier for you to manipulate a whole bunch of stuff. But this guy also is applicable. It's a practical way of manipulating your image. So but let's go ahead and use the external CSS to manipulate our image. So in our case, we have just one image here, so we don't have the need of giving it a selector like the class and ID. If you guys remember properly, during our last classes, we treated HTML CSS selectors like here. Like, yeah, sorry, selectors, yeah, here. So these are the selectors. You have the ID, the class, and the generic selector. This generic selector selects all the elements that has that same name. This class is user defined, and this ID also is user defined. So if you do not remember or understand what we're trying to talk here, you're just going to go back to the previous classes and then take a look at it. So let's go ahead and work with this thing here. So let's find, okay, we call this style.css, so let's find style.css. Okay, so in our last class, that's when we included all this, where we are working with the background, the font, and everything. So let us go ahead and work with the image. So in this case, we are going to use a generic selector, which is an img tag. So we're going to do img. So, and then now let's start off with the height. Remember, you guys, on the previous one, we gave it a height of 100 and width of 100. So in our case, we are going to give it a height of 200 and a width of 200. So it will be more visual to you guys. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. I feel so excited. I don't know about you guys though. So now let's start with height. Now we say height, we give it a height of 200 px, and we save and go back and see how it affected it. Okay, guys, say here 200 px is perfect though. It looks nice and awesome. So now we give it a width. I'll give it a width of let's go 200 px. Also, I save it. You guys see here. So this is pretty much it about manipulating the image height and width. You just have to add the height and width. That is all about the image height and width. So the next one, we're going to go ahead and treat the border. So now here's the tricky thing about this border. Like when you want to have a profile picture or something round like this, can you guys see this image like this guy here? So for you to get it round like this, you just have to manipulate the border and give it a width of what is it called, 50%, to make it circular like this. But there are other things, other ways you can get the border to look just exactly as you want it to be. So the more percentage, the higher the percentage you go into the border, the more round or the more rounded the border radius is. So now we have, sorry I didn't include the border radius, because border radius is a pretty interesting something to deal with here. So now in our own, let's deal with the border first. So let's do a border of, let's say a border of 5px solid. Let's give it a solid of black, so you guys can see how the border works in this work. So you guys will see something. So let's come back here. Can you guys see this black border around this thing? So that is what border does with the image. You know how you add border to your normal elements, you can also do that with your image. So let's give it another color so it will be more showable, something like that, so it will be more visual or noticeable. So let's give it a border of red. I think that is a pretty good. So let's go with the border of red. Yeah, so you guys cannot see the difference. So now what if I want to make this image to look just like this one, like a circular kind of stuff? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the border radius. We're going to use the border radius like here, like this guy. This is what we're going to use. So we're going to use border radius, and we'll say border radius. This will come in handy when you're making a profile picture or something around. or you can make it a red to be it's not sharp edged. So let's go down from 10% to a higher percent so you guys will see how it works. So in this border radius you can use your normal CSS measurement this thing measurement units. Like if you once again, if you don't remember, you should go back to our previous classes so it will help you understand what we are doing. So you can use the percentage to work with the border. You can use the EM, the CM, the REM, the HBC, PT, and the rest. So you can use all of these to work with the border. So now we're going to use percent. So it's quite more easier rather than trying to calculate the PX and everything. So we're going to use the percent. So we go with 10%. So you guys will see how much the 10% will do. So can you guys see it here? Have you not seen a website before and you see an image with rounded corners like this? So this is what it does. So if we go up to make it a 50%, it's going to look like a circle. So another thing is an image with a smaller height and width will be affected differently from the border radius. So let's say we give a smaller image with what is it called? We have a smaller image with a width of 100% and so on. So it will affect it differently. So let's go and see what 50% does and see. You guys see here, it made it circle, just like this guy here. So I see it now. So 50% will make it look circular like this. I know some of you guys will see websites and be wondering, how did they get this thing to be circle this way? How can I do it? You just use the border radius and boom, you've got it to work. So this is it at 50%. So let us go back and treat the last option, which is the most opacity, this guy here. So this guy sometimes cannot work with some certain browsers, but hopefully it works with this one. So let's say March. Okay, then opacity. What this guy does is it's what am I saying? It sets up the what is it called again? Set up the opacity like the visual. Let's say if you use opacity of 1, it makes it going to be more you know how you see an image fading out. Yeah, that's what opacity does. So opacity also works using the percent and what is it called, the percent and the rest. So let us try that and see. You can also use the opacity to create a transparent image, like make it be transparent, like the whole background becomes transparent. So let us see how we can set that and see how we can use it. So now let's say opacity will do 0.4 and let's see how it's going to affect our image. So I look of things, I think this stuff does not agree with us because I think guys are not detect something, so that's why it's not working. So let us try and add it directly to the image from the other side and see. But also we can use a filter, like let's say a filter alpha to set up the opacity since this guy doesn't work. So you can use a filter, see here, filter, then you can use alpha. So let's find alpha. Oh, all of these guys are kind of outdated stuff, so we're still gonna use them, and we put out our opacity in there. So opacity, hopefully this works. So let us use a value of 40 and see the difference it makes. That's if it works. So some brothers does not support this guy. So if you see, it drew a line here which says that this guy is no longer available. But I will show you guys another way to use opacity since this guy is no longer used in CSS3. So it's definitely not going to work.